Welcome, everybody, to the People, Purpose, and Profits Business Coaching Podcast. My name is Brian Buck, and my co-host is...
And I'm Kat.
And we want to welcome Tammy to the show. And we are so excited to talk with you and have you share your story and thoughts and ideas with our audience, because I just heard so many great things about you. I'm excited to hear about you too. So please go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
That's very kind. Thank you. It's lovely to be here. So I'm Tammy. I am from England, so excuse the funny accent. And I run the Motivated Mummies. So I help ladies in and out of business with their confidence.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful. And so such a critical thing, because I have seen in my coaching that confidence is not something everyone shares. And the fact that, everything we learn is the importance of knowing your audience, the fact that mummies, and it just has to be so exciting to be able to be that focused and serve and help them. So it's going to be cool to hear how you do it. So our podcast is People, Purpose, and Profits. You want to share a little bit about what any of those three mean to you and kind of where your focus is on, and maybe what you're most passionate about? Is it a balance of the all three, or is this a season in your life that one is maybe more strong right now?
Of course, yeah, I'd love to. So I actually was looking at this earlier, and I think that all three of them are absolutely vital, and especially they're vital for me at the moment, maybe. But the people side of things, you have got to get on with people, haven't you? I mean, I have got clients who say, oh, I'm going to work with animals because I don't like people. And my 17-year-old said it the other day. She goes, oh, I don't want to go to school anymore. I hate people. And I said, you have to work with people. You want to run a business. And she said, yeah, but that doesn't involve people. I said, who do you think is going to be paying you? You have to like people. So you have to find something that you like about them and find an understanding and a level that you can get on with everybody. Because I do actually believe that you can find something about everyone that you can like. Purpose, oh my goodness, it's an absolute must, isn't it? Especially in this time at the moment. The people that I have seen who have got that passion and that drive behind them, they're the ones who are really able to push through at the moment with all this craziness around us. That is what's helping me definitely to push through. And I have had loads of strangeness going on in my business, loads of, the government are stopping me doing things that I was planning to do. And if I was just doing my job for money, I would give up. I'd be like, I've had enough of this. But because of the passion behind it, it's that's driving me through hugely at the moment. And then obviously, if I haven't got any money, I get stressed. So money is vital. I don't work well if I don't have money. So yeah, all three of them, so important.
Love it.
Love that.
You know what? I'm really happy that you brought that point up, because I do think a lot of people do give up because they don't have enough, clarity around their purpose, and they're all about the money. And I think, it's safe to say that everyone wants to make money. I don't know who doesn't, but people are so focused on that. And once it's, is not working out, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is too hard for me. But if you have a clear purpose and you're driven by a mission that's, bigger than your fears and then your worries, then when you do encounter, hard times, then you continue to push through, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of the mums who I work with, a lot of them are in the network marketing businesses. And, sometimes they just pick one. And I'm like, don't just pick one. You need to feel something behind it. You need to have some kind of connection with it, because it's that's going to drive you through. And that's why you see so many people flitting from one network connection business to another, because, they haven't got that connection and that passion behind it. So it doesn't mean anything to them.
Agreed. And here's what I would love for you to share with us, because I know your story is extremely powerful, on how you got started as an entrepreneur and what pulled you through, because this is so I can't even describe it in words. Your story is just gold, and I would love for you to share that with the audience, and how you got started and some of the challenges that you faced as a person and how you've overcome them.
Oh my goodness, how long have we got? I'll keep it short. Okay, so I
Maybe it'll
suppose
be
I
a
start.
two-part. We could do another one later.
Yeah, you have to cut me off in a minute. Well, I started my entrepreneurial journey about 10 years ago because I was a self-employed beautician. So I've always had that drive to help people, and that has come from a childhood issue, I suppose, of not feeling good enough. Always had problems with the way I looked, always had an extreme lack of confidence. So I'm guessing I went into the beauty business to try and help people to feel better about themselves because I felt so rubbish about myself. And then, one thing led to another, and a few years down the line, I wasn't feeling any better. I was just, if anything, I was getting worse. On paper, I had everything that I needed and wanted. I had a fantastic business. I had my two beautiful children. I then had a partner after being single for 8 years. Had a nice house. What more could you want? But inside, I just felt like I had nothing to live for, like nothing. And my chiropractor actually said to me, have a look at this man, Tony Robbins. And I'd never heard of him, which shocks me now because, how huge is he? So he said, have a look at this man. He could help you with the 6 human needs, etc. So as one thing leads to another on internet, I came across the UPW. And now at this time, I was suffering with severe anxiety, social phobia, which is why I worked on a one-to-one basis with people. And I'm looking at this internet page telling me to go and join 10,000 other people. 10,000 people. Go, little old me, into London, who I never even travelled to London, and go and surround myself with all these people to feel better. As if that was going to happen, But I did it. Because have you ever had a time in your life where you don't know why, but you feel pulled to do something? And I just felt like I had to do it. I mean, there was tons of reasons why I shouldn't. I didn't have enough spare money to go to there. My kids were, they were like teenagers. They could look after themselves. But as a mum, you still feel like you should be there for them. And, I had all these reasons and excuses, but I went. And literally 4 days later, I came out. My life had turned around. I threw all my medication in the bin. I weaned myself off for a little while. Don't take that advice because you're meant to do it for much longer. But, I literally came off all my medication. I was no longer depressed. I no longer had social phobia. And I had fantastic tools to work with my anxiety to get it to a level where I felt free and I could live. And it was just unbelievable. And that's when I became a coach.
It's amazing.
Wonderful. What, why of all things to focus on, why confidence?
Because I had none. And I am always completely honest, even though I run a group that's, is called Confidence in Business. I run a membership, Confidence in Business. I teach confidence, and I'm always completely honest. And I say, I am not the most confident person you will ever find. But because I know no confidence, I can help people. I can understand where they're coming from and then bring them up. And if somebody comes to me and says, they're full of confidence and they want to go to that extreme, I'm like, I can't help you because, I'm not there. So I can't relate to that. But for the majority of people, and definitely people who were suffering with anxiety and just that really low self-esteem, they're the people, they're my people, they're the ones that I can fully understand, and I can say, come on, I've done it, let me help you to do it too.
Right. And that's why I think the purpose, that we talk about, and that right there connects it for me. It's like, outside looking in, to the whole mission that you have and what I love. And, we share the whole anxiety, and we've talked about it, in the past. And I think, having that insight is really what connects you to people. And like you said, to understand them, because I was on the other side where I had no anxiety. And I thought I understood people, but you can't fully understand someone unless you've been in their shoes. And, having no confidence, and then like, meeting with someone that has none, they can relate to you. And it's such a great space for you to walk them through and see that, transformation. But understanding them, I think that's, such a huge component in, having a mission that's connected to something that makes sense to you.
And how many times do you hear a business coach say, oh, you need to post a picture of yourself, you need to go live, you need to do YouTube, blogs and podcasts and all this, and they tell you what you have to do. But if you're sitting there with this high anxiety thinking, well, I'm too ugly to post a picture of me, or who's going to want to see a picture of me, who's going to want to listen to my voice, if you're sitting there with that kind of anxiety, you won't be able to do that. It doesn't matter how much money you've paid that coach to hear that advice, you're not going to be able to take the action.
Right.
And so that is what I help my ladies with, is feeling confident enough to be able to take the action that they know they have to do. They just can't do it yet.
It's like, how do you overcome that, right?
Would you say the opposite of confidence is anxiety? Because this is actually the first time I ever kind of heard you say, anxiety is something that keeps people from being confident. And I've always kind of saw them as different things. So I'm kind of curious on those connections for you.
I suppose for me, it's a lack of confidence in yourself, and you're anxious about how other people are portraying you. So if you speak to a lot of people who haven't got confidence, they're constantly worrying, what do people think of me? What do think people, how are they relating to me? I've done this, what are they thinking? So you're constantly worrying about what other people are thinking of you. So therefore, it is a form of anxiety, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, I can see that now. I mean,
and it doesn't stop. That's that's the hard part about it, is that once you're in it, it just seems like it's ongoing. Yeah, and sometimes it becomes so unconscious that you just withdraw yourself from a lot of things, because you don't want to be in that instance where you even trigger that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I have a family member who suffers from anxiety, and there's a bit of the social anxiety, but there's even kind of the doom and gloom anxiety. So I think maybe I was thinking about it from the doom, like, oh, this is going to go bad, even though it doesn't affect them socially. But it is fascinating. What they've told me is whenever they get anxious about one thing, that then like triggers anxiety for everything. They know, like, once it's triggered, then it happens everywhere. It's never...
It becomes a filter through which it's a lens.
But also when my book came out, The Motivated Mummies Guide to Confidence, in my book I spoke about how I suffered with anxiety and depression since I was diagnosed at 17. I'm sure I had it before that. And so many people came up to me and said, I never knew you was depressed. I can't believe that you were depressed. Like I just can't believe I didn't know. But a lot of people, they wear a mask, don't they? And for a lot of people who are suffering with anxiety and depression, they want to try and please other people and help them. So they are normally like the jolly people and the ones always looking after other people, because they don't want anyone to feel like they feel themselves. So
have you ever seen on Instagram the pictures of me at my worst? So I guess, they have like people who are suffering from anxiety or suicidal thoughts, and they show all of these happy, beautiful pictures of their time. Kind of reminds me of that so often we don't know who is suffering around us, which kind of brings back to that people part. And how are we sensitive and listening and being there for people, or opening up an avenue that they could speak about it. Safely.
And I think it's important for more people to speak, and especially the famous people and the people that are in the spotlight, because the more people talk about anxiety and mental illness or mental health, the more it becomes an easier to speak about topic, doesn't it? Takes the stigma out of it.
And they listen. That's there's a thing with, I think, with influencers and people that have a spot, they are in the spotlight, other people listen to them. Up until that point, I notice with people that suffer from anxiety, they judge themselves and they don't give themselves, love or the space to be and accept who they are. But if someone that they admire talks about it, it kind of opens up the door for healing. A lot of times, it's that acceptance and knowing that someone that is famous is not, um, they suffered of it as well. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much fame you have or how many people love you. You have to make peace with yourself first in order to be okay. And I think that's, the most critical part is that chatter that happens in your head that you have to take care of.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, fully agree with that.
The program that my family member did, this came out like 20 years ago, but the statistics at that time said 1 in 3 people suffer from anxiety, at least in the US. And for my family member, they were like, I don't feel alone. Because they always thought they were the weird or the odd one out, or they're unusual. And there's a certain level of knowing, oh, there's other people. I'm not alone in this. So, and it's
That's
so
one of the
awesome
big things I got from the UPW, being surrounded by the 10,000 people who also didn't feel 100% fulfilled at that moment. And whereas I'm having my family members say, well, what more do you want? Making me feel like I was a weirdo for wanting more out of my life. And then I was all of a sudden surrounded by all these amazing people who also wanted more. And Tony's there going, it's okay, you can have more, So yeah, it's very important to get that understanding and to feel like you belong to other people as well.
Without sharing names, do you have a favorite client story where someone started here and they got there, and how your work really helped make a transformation that was so plain to see or felt?
Yeah, I mean, one of my last clients we've just finished working together, and she won't mind me talking about it, is all over Facebook. So she was a single mum, still is a single mum, working in a school, and she enjoyed her school job, but she really wanted to open her dog salon, a dog grooming parlor, because that's where her passion lied. And she always felt like she had more to offer, but she didn't have the support she needed. So we worked together for 4 months, and it was over the lockdown period as well, which, anyone who can put one foot in front of the other when so much uncertainty is going on is fantastic in my eyes. So she managed through all this time to leave her job, set up her dog grooming business, and take that massive step, being a single mum, so being the only income person, to be able to make that transition. And there was a lot of anxiety going throughout that time. There was a lot of unconfidence. We had a lot of sessions where it was me just reminding her of how awesome she has been in the past and could therefore be in the future. And she done it. She was absolutely incredible, and she managed to change her career and is now absolutely flying with her business and is so proud of herself, rightly so. And one of the incredible things that I love is, when I love to work with mums, is because of the knock-on effect, the ripple effect it has on their children. So her children are more confident as well. And that's all because they're seeing her taking such courageous steps, owning her life, and they're just copying now. And it gives me goosebumps to hear these stories of how, these amazing mums are taking action, and their children are just changing and developing, seemingly out of nowhere.
Love that.
Beautiful.
I want to ask, because, since we're talking about people and then business, what are some challenges you faced and how did you deal with delegating? Still?
I'm laughing because I'm not very good at delegating. I'm trying to think, have I ever delegated? Yeah, so part of being an anxiety sufferer is you like to be in control. So I got a VA, a virtual assistant, at one point, and I took small steps in passing some bits over to her. And I must admit, it was a big struggle. I found it very, very difficult. I found it very difficult to let go of that control. I have no tips on that.
Do you still have the VA, or did you kind of pause that experiment?
Oh, and I love the
paused.
fact that you're being so, raw and, honest and open, because I
Yeah.
know, again, I think that part of, an anxious, and I don't want to put a label on it, because usually the things that we label hard kind of like tend to stick. But is, that learning process that we go through, especially, as an entrepreneur, I call it the uncertainty test, because everything about entrepreneurship is, uncertain. It's like you're like on cloud 5, 9, whatever you call it, today, but then tomorrow you're like down in the slumps. So it's like how you deal with that, and how do you learn to overcome some of those blocks, because that's really what they may be. What are some tips that you have maybe for people, and not on delegating, on how you go through the changes and how you've overcome some of the things that come up as you become a coach and transition from being a beautician to that? And
so it's all about finding your own certainty, isn't it? Because the one thing that we need is stability, and if we haven't got certainty, then, as this virus has shown us, it rocks our whole world. We need a basic level of security and safety and certainty to be able to function. So what I tell my clients, and I say to them and I say to myself all the time, is find your certainty. And if your certainty is taken away from you, like delegating to a VA, or, when things change, like my business plan has just changed because our government has changed it, I have to now find some new certainty. So it's all about creating certainty. And that is a massive one for anyone suffering with anxiety as well. People that suffer with anxiety, they need to be in control. So you have to find ways that you're able to be in control, but positively, so it doesn't hurt you and it doesn't hurt anyone around you. So it's finding that. And sometimes faith is a massive one. I use faith in the law of attraction, things like that. I find that helps a lot.
Absolutely.
I know one of the things that has helped me as business and life has up and downs is a Nelson Mandela quote on I either win or I learn, I never fail. And to me, I kind of see the one thing that I can control is I can control the learning. I can learn from whatever happens. And there's a certain level of knowing that when I learn that I will be able to either handle it better next time it comes around, avoid it, or even exponentially grow because I've gone through that. So
absolutely, you can literally learn from everything. And that's another one of my favorites. You cannot possibly fail unless you give up.
Right. Agreed. Definitely. That's something that I think in my mind I call resilience. And in my own story, I know I've given up a lot of times because I didn't have that purpose. And it's so beautiful to watch what happens once you're in, that zone. And it doesn't guarantee that it's, things are going to be all nice and easy and flow like a lot of people expect. They want, everything to just be so easy once you find your groove, once you find your calling. But to continue to show up and to say, you know what, this is not the end. This is just another, as Brian said, it's a learning step and in our growth.
And there is definitely a lot of growth in entrepreneurship, isn't
right?
there?
Yeah.
Every day.
You said you've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. Any thoughts or things you want to share with our audience when you look at things from a 10-year window along that journey? Because some of our people, they could be in their first or second year. Some of them might be just starting, but for someone who's been doing this a long time, what's something to share from that journey?
So I can relate to this really well because I was a beautician for about 8 years, and then I changed to a coaching practice. So in one ways, I'm a long-term entrepreneur, but then on the other hand, I'm a new business owner again. And it's like when you change any career, you go from being at the top of your game to the bottom of someone else's game, and you have to keep climbing that ladder, and it sucks. It really sucks sometimes. Like, before I was a beautician, I actually worked as the manager of a day nursery. So yes, I'm on my third career, because I don't believe that you need to just stick to one. So I was the manager of a day nursery, and I was the one that everyone came to. I sort of had say about everything. And then I left that career and I went to be a beautician in a salon, and I dropped down to minimum wage, and I was like the lowest of the low. I was sweeping the hair off the floor, and I'd gone from being this top dog to the bottom, and I didn't like it at all. And I didn't understand why I wasn't included in these, staff meetings with all the bosses. And then I obviously went to have my own business. So I have to tell myself now that, yes, you are only a couple of years in. Don't compare your year 2 with someone else's year 10. And that is the big one, isn't it? Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stick to your lane. Keep your head down if you need to. I had to delete a ton of people off of Facebook because I was comparing myself to so many other coaches who'd been in it for much longer and who were completely different to me, So don't be afraid to put your blinkers on, put your head down, and just concentrate on your lane.
Love it.
Well, and I also love, and this is a theme I've seen through my entrepreneur friends, and it's even coming up in some of the interviews Kat and I are doing. And I just want to reiterate, where we start doesn't necessarily need to be where we end. Like the fact that you grew from a beautician to a coach and you made that change, because I think some people, especially like if they're in the corporate world, they kind of think, oh, okay, I'm going to be in this industry and this kind of job or in this kind of department from here until I retire. But so many entrepreneurs are like, I did this and now my interest is here. And, especially those of us who are coaches, we are growing faster than our offers. We can't just, I'm learning this new thing and now I'm going to put this out there for people. But the fact is, we do continue to grow that, every few years, it kind of makes sense to have like a refresh or a repurpose. And so.
And life is for living, isn't it? Like, I believe we've got one life. And, I was working on a one-to-one basis with clients for a very long time, for 8 years. And then I changed, like you've just said, you transform, you change, things happen. And now I want to be amongst lots of people, so, I don't want to hide in the shadows anymore. That suited me for that period of my life. And now I'm ready to, to be out there and to be surrounded by more people. So you don't need to be stuck in the box that you've put yourself in originally. You can keep changing boxes.
I love it.
So as we're starting to wrap up, what do you want to share? Like, what's next? What's coming up? What do you want to, let our audience know about that's coming that they can look for, and how can they connect with you and follow up with you? Because I'm sure, just like us, we're going to want to talk with you further. So our audience is going to probably want to reach out.
If anything I've said has resonated with anybody, then I've got a free Facebook group that you are welcome to join. And yes, I mainly work with mums, but everyone and anyone is welcome into the group, because, if you need help, you need help. So the group is Boost Your Visibility with the Motivated Mummies. And I help people to build their confidence so they can promote their business. Okay. And whilst they're building their confidence to promote their business, they're also secretly building their confidence just for them anyway. So it's a win-win. The thing that I've got out at the moment is my people pleasing course, because as I was working with my clients in the business, a lot of the same issues kept coming up. They were pleasing people, they weren't prioritizing themselves, they were worrying what people thought of them. Over and over again, this popped up. So I decided to just create a whole course about it. And so that's out at the moment, and it's been getting lovely reviews, really lovely. So a lot of people have had a lot of fantastic results from that. And I've always been completely honest, I'm getting fantastic results from it because I'm still working on the solutions that I've told everyone else to do. Because if I wasn't suffering from them, I wouldn't be able to create a fantastic course about it, having lived it. So if anybody would like to connect with me, I'm mainly on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, and then you can find my groups and come join in and boost your confidence.
And your website?
My website is www.motivatedmummies.com, and that's spelled the English way with the U.
And we'll have it at the bottom of this.
Not like the bad Tom Cruise movie, The Mummy. Anyway, I haven't seen it. I'm a fan of the original, but I heard bad things about the new one. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing. And you are providing a service that so many people need, and you're not just selling a product, you're changing lives. And you're not just changing the life of the mom. I love that you're also changing the life of the kids and their future. So it has long impact. So thank you very much. Any final words, Kat?
No, I mean, you know, as always, I'm always impressed with Tammy. She's, you know, got so much from, you know, the book she's written to all the things that she's doing, and just, you know, smashing those limiting beliefs that she's had, and just crushing it out there. And I don't think that she understands how much her work impacts others. You know, I look up to her and I see what she's doing, and what she's putting out there is making me push my own boundaries. And, you know, I just want to thank her for coming here, for being so raw and honest and open, and for doing the work that you're doing is just, you know, unbelievable. And you're probably impacting more lives than you actually realize.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say, because obviously there are days when I am just thinking to myself, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this
We
at all.
all do, right?
Yeah. So it's really lovely to hear. So I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And everybody, feel free to either watch this show, People, Purpose, and Profits podcast on YouTube or any of your podcaster of choice. And we also have our own Facebook page, so you can get updates if you just search by the name of the podcast, and a group so you can interact with Kat and I. And we should probably even think about ways that we can get our guests to be in there too. That would be cool. So we'll figure all that out, but we want to connect with you so we can make sure that we're getting the kind of guests that's going to resonate with your business, because we care about your success and the impacts that you make. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.